Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back here with another bright eyeshadow look. I really had so much fun creating this look, especially because it's really colorful and bright, just like all the looks that I like doing. Don't get me wrong, I do love the glams and the soft glams and the neutral colors, but after the third look of continuously creating soft glams, I really miss my colors. So I needed to create one soon right after the other looks because I needed some color. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I knew I wanted green and a pop of color. Well, I mean, green, it's already a pop of color, right? But green and something. But for sure, I just knew I wanted to add that liquid eyeshadow, because every single time that I went into my makeup stash, I kept looking at that one. I knew I wanted to create something with it. I just didn't know what yet. But this is what I came up with. If you guys want to see how I created this look and want to learn how I created it, just keep on watching. And before I continue with this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And without any further ado, just keep on watching. Okay guys, so we're gonna start with the eyes. For the eyeshadow base, I couldn't find my P. Louise eyeshadow base, so instead of using that, I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape concealer. So I apply this all over my eyelid, and just with a flat brush, I'm going to blend this all over my eyelid. You could use any flat brush. This one is the MAC 242S. So I'm just going to blend that all over my eyelid, and then while I'm blending this, I am also carving the bottom part of my eyebrow. And I forgot how fast this concealer dries, so I'm just gonna go as fast as I can. And as you can see, I just used the leftover concealer on the brush to just carve out the bottom part of my eyebrow, because I don't really care for the brow to be too carved out. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit more just because. Guys, I've been so stressed out working home, working for you guys, which I love, by the way. I'm learning as I go, and that's the best way I can learn, is by experience and repetition. Obviously, I feel like everybody learns by repetition, but I'm having fun learning all these technology. But I feel like once I learn just the basics, I want to learn more. I want to learn how do like graphic designers create like all these designs. Okay. Why am I so nervous? Like, I've done this so many times. I don't know why I'm nervous. Okay. Before I go ahead and start using the color, I will be applying some loose powder to the inner corner of my eyes. Do this so whenever you're playing with color, it doesn't mess up the area. I don't know if you guys have ever tried like doing a really harsh smoky eye, but whenever you do color or really hard dark colors, it goes all over your inner corner, and it kind of looks like it's just a shadow there, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of loose powder so that this will stop the eyeshadow that I'll be using from sticking there, and it won't look like I have a shadow there. So I just apply it right here. It's not really the inner corner, it's more like in between, kind of like the nose bridge and the inner corner of my eye. So I just add a little bit of loose face powder there, just because I don't want the eyeshadow to stick there and create a shadow, which we already have naturally. So I don't want the eyeshadow to, I just don't want the eyeshadow to be added there. And if I can avoid that, then I will. Okay, now we're going to go with the color, which is, I'm going to be using two shades. One is from this palette from Makeup Revolution. I do own a lot of Makeup Revolution palettes just because they own a lot of color palettes, and I love them, and they're good quality. So what more do you need? And they're very affordable. So I'm using this color right here, this green, emerald green. And on top of that, I am going to be adding the Crystal Fusion Liquid Shadow and the shade, what shade? I need my glasses. Oh wow, I need my glasses. Ophelia. In the shade Ophelia. That's a horrible swatch. But you get the idea, right? That you kind of see the color that I mean to get. Isn't that beautiful? And it kind of has like gold glitter in there. It's not glitter, it's like a sheen to it. Okay, so we're gonna start with this left eye. As I told you guys before, I like to start with the eye. I don't know why. I'm going to go ahead and add this shade all over my eyelid, okay? Ooh, 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 ooh. So this shade is already like a shimmer, very shimmery color, very shimmery eyeshadow. So when we do add the other one, I'm really hoping that it will darken it up a little bit and that it will make it even shimmery. So I'm just going all over my eyelid, and then at the same time, just once I start getting close to the crease, I start shaping the eyeshadow how I want it to basically end up. Like if I want to do a wing, I do it now. If I want it to just be like an almond shape, then I'll just do that shape. But I kind of want it like a very, very circled. I know there's a better term for that, but all I can come up with right now. So I just pack on the color. See, I told you guys I was gonna come back with color because I can't live without color. Like I do enjoy very like neutrals and like soft glams, but after the third or fourth, I need color. Okay, and then I look straight forward to see if that's the shape that I wanted to, or if I wanted to reach farther up. But I'm looking a little bit down. So I wanted to go a little bit farther up just because after that, I'm going to start blending it. So whatever farther I do reach it, that's gonna be a little bit less than what I take it to because I'm gonna start blending it. Okay, so to blend it out, I could be using that shade that this palette already has, which is this one right here. That's like a matte green, but it has more like a teal color. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's less green, like more like a bluish tone to it. I want the shade that I'm going to be using to blend it to be a little bit closer to the look. So I found this other green. It's called Bamboo from BH Cosmetics Trendy in Tokyo. So I'm going to be using that shade to blend it. And to blend that out, the brush that I'm going to be using is the Morphe M562. It's this really tiny blending brush. So I added that a little bit of bamboo on it. I tap the excess and I try not to put too much weight on the brush. So I very lightly barely touch the colors and I start doing circular motions as I keep blending. Just watch. So I keep repeating that motion, that circling and swiping motion as I keep blending. And like I said, I don't touch my lid or put any weight on the brush. So once I'm done blending that, I'm going to use a very light color to finish blending that out. So to blend the whole look, we practically just used 3 colors for the top lid besides the liquid shadow. The eyelid eyeshadow, the blending eyeshadow, and then the last one, which would be the final blending. Does that make sense? So the last eyeshadow that I'm going to be using to blend, it's going to be the shade Tempura from that same palette that I used to blend that green. This is a shade Bamboo, and I'm going to be using Tempura to blend everything out. So it's kind of like a between the lime green and a yellow. And again, same technique. I barely touch my eyelid and I barely put any weight on the brush. I feel like it's really blended. So now I'm going to add the liquid shadow. And for this one, before I even put it on, I'm gonna make sure I have a flat brush, kind of like a fluffy flat brush. If you can tell, this one's a flat brush, right? But if I put it sideways, it's not that flat. It's kind of like bushy. Okay, and it's really soft too. So this is the M166 and I'm gonna be using that to kind of like blend the liquid eyeshadow on my lid. So here goes nothing. Look at that, look at that. So now I go with the brush and I kind of tap it in place. Make sure your eyelid is closed, especially if it's liquid eyeshadow. Or at least I like to keep my eye closed, that way like it doesn't set into any creases until I feel it like almost dry. So see how it's drying, but I'm also taking the time to place it right where I want it, and at the same time like the tapping is helping me blend on the edges. Ooh, I like. And since I'm using this brush that is like flat but fluffy at the same time, but not that flat, I can, like, once it's kind of like dry, I kind of use that same tip of the brush to kind of blend into the previous color. And there we go. I'm liking it. I just poked my eye. Don't poke your eye. It's red. Guys, there's gonna be a lot of what's it called, like bloopers or funny moments. Well, this one's not that funny. If you can ignore my red eyes for the rest of the video. And this is not just, guys, I'm tired. This is a lot of work, but I like it. Okay, I'm really happy with how that blend out. Let me just go a little bit with that green shade. Just kind of like blend it. So now I'm using just a clean, again, it's like the same type of brush. It's like a flat but kind of fluffy at the same time. This one's a little bit less flat. I'm gonna be using this brush to kind of blend the already dried liquid shadow with the previous eyeshadow that I had put on the eyelid. Okay, so now I'm happy with the eyeshadow. So now I'm going to be eyelining the top lash, and I'm gonna be using the black shadow that this palette already has, the Makeup Revolution. This black shadow right here. So I'm just gonna use a angled brush, an angled liner brush. This is a precise eyeliner brush from Essence. And then I'm nothing special. I'm just lining the top lash line just because I will be adding eyelashes, and that just helped for the eyelashes to blend in more with the top lash line. So I just get really close to the lash line and just line, tap and swipe, tap and swipe, tap and swipe. Okay, now that I did that, I'm gonna go ahead and curl the eyelash, because can you see my eyelashes? They're so straight. This is my real lashes. Okay, I'm just gonna curl the eyelash. And I honestly don't care to curl them that much, just because I will be adding lashes, so what's the point? Okay, so for mascara, I will be using the Voluminous Lash Paradise mascara from L'Oreal. Okay, and to do the waterline of the top lash line, I will be using the Long Lasting Drama Matte from Maybelline. Okay, so now that I'm done with this eye, I will be doing the other eye, and then I will be right back. Okay guys, so now I'm back with both eyes done. So just like I have done on the previous videos, I will be doing the face before I finish the eye. I will work on getting out of my comfort zone and trying to do the eye first, so this video is not so broken into different areas. But for now, we're gonna stick to what I know, and this is what I know. So for primer, I will be using this e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer, and I just apply it all over I say all over my face, but no, just the T-zone area, around my mouth, and whatever is left over, I do apply it to the rest of my face. So I tried this new technique for my eyebrows, and I think I like it. It was pretty easy too. So for foundation, I am using a classic, a Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. This is my favorite. I think I use this and the NARS Sheer Glow the most out of all the foundations that I have. I really hope that got that. It looked so clean. Okay guys, so now I'm applying that foundation all over my face, just like I always do. So to blend it out, I already started blending it, but I am using a regular e.l.f. blending sponge. Okay guys, so now that I'm done with the foundation, I will be using the e.l.f. hydrating camo concealer in satin finish. These are not the best for me since I do have oily skin, but I feel like with some products, like they're good for my skin, like even though they're for dry skin or products that typically are best for dry skin, some of them do suit me, so I'm still trying this one out. So I'm gonna apply this to the inner corners of my eyes, around my nose, and then on the highest point of my cheeks. So I'm going to blend that out first, and then I move out. I just moved in. And then I'm gonna move on to the rest of my face. Okay, and then I'm really careful on the inner corner, especially since I already have some eyeshadow. So I don't want that sharp eyeshadow on the outer part of my eye. So what I'm doing, if I did go over too much with the eyeshadow, I do go over it with the sponge, with the leftover concealer that I left on the sponge. And for the inner corner, I applied a little bit of concealer on this brush, just a flat brush, and I'm going to tap it on my hand and then add it to the inner corner of the eye where I do have a darker spot. I can't reach to it with the sponge, that's why I'm doing it with a brush. Okay, so now I'm adding that concealer to the forehead, or not the forehead, I just apply a little tiny bit in the middle of my eyebrows and then blend it upwards, and then I'm applying some to the outer corners of my lips and then my chin. I'm gonna blend that out. I just try to keep it just in the center of my forehead. Sorry, I keep moving the mirror. I need to get a shorter one. If my husband was here, he would have been like, yep, you just want to spend more money. Okay, so now I did apply all the concealer that I will be adding to my face. So I'm just gonna set my whole face just like I always do with the Earthspun loose face powder. So I'm gonna go again right before I set it with that small sponge, and I'm just gonna make sure there's no creases before I apply the setting powder, because we don't want to set any creases. So I make sure I really go over it again. Now we set my under eye first, and then my nose. So I do focus on the parts of my face that are more oily first, and then over the rest of my face. I do get oily down here too. And then whatever is left, I set the rest of my face, because again, the rest of my face does get dry. Let me clean my lips. I mean, they're not perfect, but so now that I did set the rest of my face, to contour I will be using this bronzer from Maybelline. It's a city bronzer, and I'm just using a fluffy small dip brush, no brand, probably from AliExpress again. So I'm just applying that on the brush, tap out the excess, and then I apply it right under my cheekbone. Then I like to use tapping motions first, and once the product is set there, then I start blending it. So I am noticing that concealer is very voluminous for my liking, but the name said it. It's not like it didn't tell me that it wasn't voluminous. So I'm gonna apply that on the bottom part of my jawline. Now the other side. Get the jawline. So for the nose, we're gonna be using an It Brushes for Ulta. It's an angled fluffy brush. Go on the edges of the nose and then blend that downwards to where the normal shade of the nose would be. For blush, I feel like I want more like a cool tone blush. So we're gonna use the Butter Blush from Physicians Formula. This is the shade Plum Rose. And to apply that, so we will be using the Morphe M405. So let's apply some color and light to our face. So highest point of my cheek again, and then I kind of pull it up. I try not to bring it too much down to the center of my face, not this area. I'm always doing this. Okay, and once I'm happy with that blush and light I have on my face, I apply a little bit on my nose. So for highlights, I'm going to be using the Revolution Soft X palette, which is the goldest shade. And then I'm going to apply that again to the highest point of my cheeks. Try not to pull it too much to the front of my face. And the other side. Tip of my nose, just the tip bridge. That's why I like this brush, because I can use the side of it and then barely touch the area, and I apply the highlight. Now the bridge of my nose, then the top of my lips, the cupid's bow, and the shin. Happy. Okay, so now that we finished the face, we're gonna do the eyes and then the lips, and we will be done. Okay, so for the bottom part of the eyes, I want to do another color, and that color is blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my waterline with this eyeliner pencil from Jordana Easy Liner for Eyes retractable pencil in the shade Sterling Blue. Ooh, yeah. So that blue that I just showed you is the one that comes in the BH Cosmetics Trending in Tokyo palette, and that is the shade Electric. It's this blue right here. So to add that on the lower lash line, I will be using the Morphe M213. Let's do this eye first. I am applying it to the lower lash line, exactly where the lashes start. And I'm just packing it on. I'm just packing on the color because I'm gonna blend it with a different color right now. Ooh. What do you think? Thank you, babe. Ooh. I'm gonna have to take a break. Okay, so let's just hope I don't drop this one like I did before. Luckily, it was a palette. Now the other eye. And instead of adding another shade to blend it out, I decided I will be using the same shade, just a very light hand. To blend it out, I will be using that tinier brush I used earlier with the green shades. Let me just find the other one. Okay, so I'm using this brush from Morphe M562, which is the one that I used to blend that green. Well, not the same brush, but the same style. And then I'm gonna apply a little bit of Electric, tap the excess, and then a very light hand start blending the edges. Okay, to blend it out, I will be using the same brush. I just took off a lot of eyeshadow that I had on it already, and then I cleaned it up a little bit. So I'm just gonna use that one to very slightly blend it out, because I don't want the blend to be like a really like smooth out blend. I just don't want it to be like really harsh, but I also don't want it to run too much down, and I don't want to add a lot more color. I just want it to stay like that. So I just kind of like just diffuse the lines, just so there's not a harsh line. Fresas con crema. So for the inner corner, I will be using the same shade from the highlight palette that I used to highlight. I'm gonna be applying that highlight to the inner corner of my eyes, and I'm just using a Morphe M326 tiny brush, and just apply that to the inner corner and very lightly blend, because I don't want to pull it up or pull it down. It's more like a tapping motion for this one. I'm not trying to blend. So earlier I looked at this green from the BH Trending in Tokyo palette, Wasabi. So now that I added that highlighter, I will be adding a tiny bit on top of that highlighter. I just tap it to give it a little bit of that undertone. There we go. Okay, so now that I'm done with the eyes, I feel like I'm done with the eyes. I will be applying mascara to the bottom lashes, which would be the same one I used earlier, the Voluminous Lashes Paradise from L'Oreal. So for lashes, I will be using Bebecita lashes. Wow, lashes make the whole look. Ooh, guys, I'm loving it. Okay, now that we did the eyes and we added the lashes and that's looking almost complete, I'm gonna be moving on to the lips. For the lips, I will be using the LA Girl Perfect Precision Lip Liner in the shade Sugar and Spice. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips. Okay, and over that lip liner, I will be adding the Mega Lash Liquid Catsuit High Shine Lipstick by Wet n Wild and the shade Sand Nudes. Okay guys, so it looks like I'm done. I'm just gonna add some setting spray. I have this one from Morphe. And you know what, before I go finish everything else, I do feel like marking this beauty mark, I'm gonna call it, that I have on my face. So I'm gonna just use a dark brown and put it right on the, what is it, a mole? So now that I'm done with my whole face, I'm gonna go ahead and do my hair, dress it up with some earrings, and then I'll be right back. So this completes the whole look, you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, especially because it was color. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any color suggestions that you would like me to try. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.
Both know that it won't work. We both know that it won't